Today we are making baby cakes, and I'm going to show you what goes into making a baby cake and all of the different choices you have when it comes to making them. Baby cakes start with two main ingredients, eggs and whatever kind of either flour or baby cereal you have. I've used just plain flour in the past, but Wick gave us this cereal, so we're going to use this oat multigrain cereal. Today I'm making two different kinds of baby cakes. One's going to be kind of more sweet, one's going to be a little bit more savory, and you're going to need a fine grater. I'm personally going to be grating an apple, or part of an apple. I'm going to be mashing up a banana, and I'm going to be using some pumpkin puree that we cooked the other day, and those are going to be the main parts of my sweet one. For my savory one, I'm going to be using some ground pork and some beans left over from our taco night. Little bit of cheese. If you can get full fat, that's better. And some carrot that I am going to finely grate. So I'll show you how I put it all together. Into the bowl for the sweet, I'm getting 2-3 tablespoons of my grated apple, and yes, you can use applesauce. It's better if it's unsweetened. A little bit of my banana. It's like half to a third of a banana, somewhere in there. And just mash that up. You can kind of see that on the frame. I'm going to mash it up. And I'm going to put probably a couple tablespoons of my pumpkin in there. Maybe a little bit more. Alright, you can change this. If you've got a baby who's more constipated, skip the banana. If you've got a baby who's more runny, add more banana. Also, fats are super duper important. I'm going to be grating in, because it's kind of cold, a little bit of this butter. Butter is better, than vegetable oil. And it has lots of good fats for your baby's growing brain. Save some for the savory one. Now, we got to get their eggs and our cereal or flour. So we're going to start with a minimum of 2 eggs. You could do 3. If your baby isn't gaining enough weight, you can do just the yolks. If your baby doesn't get quite enough protein, you could do just the whites. Either way, eggs are a really good source of fats and protein, excellent for babies. Even if you're just going to scramble an egg, that's great for babies. All right, I'm going to mix this up a little bit before we add in in this case, baby cereal. Okay, so just add a tablespoon or 2 at a time. I think I'm starting with about 3 tablespoons. And we are going to stir this up. And unlike regular pancakes, but more like crepes, you want this to be a thinner batter. So you can either do less cereal or flour, or you can add a liquid like whole milk or goat's milk or apple juice or water. Whatever you've got. Mine's almost the right consistency. I actually might add just a little bit of water because I want it thin. Now, if you're worried about any chunks in this, you can put it in your blender. Okay, this is the consistency that we want for these baby cakes, okay? We want it to be kind of runny. Not too runny. Yeah, baby cakes. Because we want to be able to make small little pancakes out of this stuff. I don't want them to be too big or too fluffy. I am not adding any baking powder or baking soda, salt, or sugar. Now we're going to start our savory one, and I'm starting with a carrot. You can totally put carrot into your sweet ones. Okay, my beans are whole, and so is my pork, and we use this for tacos, so it's lightly seasoned but not too much because I got little kids. I'm just going to put a little bit in here. You can do just beans. It's got good protein and fiber, but I'm going to mush these up first so that they're incorporated well, and if you need to, you can put a little bit of water in this, or if you get one of those little blenders, you can blend this before you incorporate everything. My blender's packed away, so I'm going to just put a little bit of water and mush it with arm strength. Okay, so now I'm adding my whole grated carrot. And then I'm going to add in some of this pumpkin puree. Just using whatever tools I have here. A few tablespoons. You good? Now I'm adding just a little bit of cheese, maybe a tablespoon. You don't have to put cheese in. This is actually the first time I'm doing cheese. I didn't typically do it before, but I had it on hand and it's good protein. Extra fats for their growing brains. And then I'm gonna give that a quick stir, but then we're gonna go get our couple of eggs and mix this up. Okay, here comes one egg. And the second one. Yeah, he was thirsty. Give that a good stir. And just like before, add in your cereal or your flour at this point. And I already added some water when I was mixing up the meat and the beans, so I don't need to add any more water, I don't think. Just a few tablespoons of cereal. I'd guess that's about 3 tablespoons to start. And just like the other one, you just want it kind of like thicker, a little thicker than a crepe, a little thinner than a pancake consistency. This is almost right, but because it has so many different odds and ends in it, I am going to need to add just a little bit so that there's more that binds it together, because otherwise those chunks are just going to make it fall apart. So if you put this in a blender and puree it, then it holds together a little bit better. But I kind of like my babies to get chances with texture. So, okay, we got this, and we got the sweet. Now we're going to cook them up. So we're going to go ahead and start cooking these. In my house, I use lard for cooking, and I render it myself and all that. If you use vegetable oil, great. If you use butter, fine. You cook them just like pancakes. If at this point you don't need any more instruction, you know how to cook pancakes, great. Just do double speed the rest of the video, okay? Otherwise, melt a little butter or lard in there, or put a little bit of the vegetable oil. And you have a couple choices. You can make little circles, little teeny tiny baby pancakes, or you can make little sticks. And I'll show you here in a second when I turn my camera around. I'll do a couple different varieties that you can do. If you do sticks, if you've got a baby who still is working on the pincher grip, doesn't quite have that, and just like kind of claws it, then usually some will stick out of this side or this side, and they can kind of figure it out. So I'll show you a couple of the sticks, and I'll show you some of the circles too. So I'm going to do my sweet stuff first. I don't know why, just because I want to. Probably because I don't want the cheese to melt in the pan and get all over the sweet ones. You can do several of these per pan. You can do them really teeny, or you can do them bigger and cut them up. Doesn't really matter. Whatever you like. You can turn them into happy little trees if you like. Okay, you can kind of press them together if you want. Now if you got high sugar, you might notice that they start to stick to the pan, so you're going to need to turn them quick. Just like regular pancakes, the first batch can end up looking a little bit wonky, but they'll still eat it. So you gotta let them cool. But these are the baby cakes. And you can see, I'll go ahead and sacrifice this one. Very easy to take apart. So they're not going to be choking on stiff parts. You can make them long. You can make them circly. Here, these are my favorites. Make little circlies out of them. They're a little tricky to flip because they're mostly egg. But you can kind of press them down and get a little bit more of the moisture out. And I like to freeze these so that I can pull them out when I need them. Now when they're nice and cool, you don't want to give them to him hot. Here you go. Let's see what he thinks. Is that good? Baby cakes. Okay, now we are cooking up our savory ones, and you just kind of treat them like they're eggs. You kind of check to see if it's done around the edges, and if you can get your spatula under here. Flip it over. Press it down a bit. And keep going. When you're freezing these, I like to put some parchment in between the layers so they don't, so you can just take out a couple at a time, and they don't get stuck to the ones underneath. Yeah, but you can put them in a, you can do several layers and just put some parchment in between. So you're set up for future meals where whatever you're eating is either too spicy or too chewy, or, I don't know, whatever, and doesn't quite work for the little ones. So that's how we make baby cakes, and you can put whatever you want in it. If you've got yogurt, you can put it in there. Really, there's not much that you couldn't put into baby cakes. So tell us what you would put in your baby cakes if you are starting to do baby-led weaning or getting onto solids for babies. And we'll see you next time, right, Jen Paul? Say bye-bye. Aw, it's nap time. Bye, y'all. God bless.